Hi, everybody. We're live with you again. So welcome, everybody, to the live stream with Betty Albee. We are from the Institute of Metaphysical Science. The website is scrolling below, scientificmetaphysics.org. Betty does have a live cast coming up on June 13th and 14th. And you can go out to scientificmetaphysics.org, and right on the homepage, there's a way you can register for that. We would love your participation if you find that something that speaks to you. And if you have any questions at all, you can enter them in the comments, both from YouTube and from Facebook. So we're streaming live to both channels, so you guys can put your comments in, questions in, anything like that. We love to see them. And if you want to send thumbs up or hearts in the Facebook side, we would love those as well. So at any rate, what we're going to do is we got some questions at the end of our last live cast, and we're going to address those questions right off the bat here. So I'm going to turn this over. Betty, go for it.
Okay. Ken asked a question about the economy. I think he was talking about the national economy and the condition we're in right at the moment as being problematic. So to look at how metaphysics addresses something like a national economic threat. Fundamentally, we live and move and have being as individual one thing going on. And the fundamental fact about one thing going on is that it's all God being. All is infinite mind, infinitely manifest. God being, man presencing is one being, seen the way we see it. So to answer the question about economics, if I'm looking at the United States economic situation, if I'm looking at the stock market and the Dow is down and the NASDAQ is down and the S&P is down and so on, I want to really realize as I'm looking at all of that my well-being as the reflective presence of God being is just one thing going on. So I can't be threatened by what's going on. But since language, the world I'm walking through, what I see, feel, hear, taste, touch, all of that is feedback telling me how I'm doing. I have to look at that feedback and say, well, what am I doing here? I'm looking like there might be an economic crisis. Well, yeah. If I'm living myself as a language two-legged animal, those are Margaret's words. If I'm living myself that way, it does face all of those things. It does face having crisis to handle, having threats to your well-being or your economic security. So what I want to do is see that who I am is not something that plays with the stock market, not something that invests and then risks everything, not something that is delighted when it pays off and upset when it doesn't. That isn't the way I live myself. I live myself consciously aware that there's one thing going on, that all is infinite mind, infinitely manifest, and it's all intact. It's all exactly right all the time. My experience of my all rightness, my perfection, my wholeness, my joy, my fulfillment, my experience of that is proportionate to my willingness to live myself divinely. That means living myself consciously aware that what's going on is God being. And what I'm seeing is the way I can see it in a language I understand. But it's not a world out there affecting me over here, either positively or negatively. Man is the action of the God idea. So man lives reflectively. Whatever's going on as man is God being. So if I want to look at my well-being from an economic point of view, I have to see why it's intact, it's whole, it's doing exactly what it should be doing. And whatever that action is never going to be injurious. Nothing can happen to me that isn't happening first as God being. Now that's a quick thumbnail sketch, but actually anything like an economic problem that threatens you or a physical problem that threatens you, your guidelines are exactly the same. We're taught in metaphysical science to leave that basis of belief, the basis that says I live and move and have being as a two-legged animal that you can see in the mirror. That's just a language look of a reality that's present as God being, whole, perfect, complete, joyous, free, satisfied, fulfilled right now. If there's another question about that, let me know. But that fundamentally is how you approach any threat to who you are. Then I had another question from Diane, and she says, speak to expanding in the negative. And fundamentally, these two things are very related. Whenever I'm living myself as if the language I walk through were real, as if the vision I see in the mirror of a two-legged animal is really who I am, I'm living myself negatively. I'm living myself as if the seen, heard, and felt were the real, as if the God idea was a pipe dream. Now that would be expanding in the negative. And the reason it's called expanding in the negative, as far as I can tell from a language point of view anyway, is that we live and move and have our being believing that what we see, feel, hear, taste, touch, etc. is real. Is that we live and move and have our being believing that what we see, feel, hear, taste, touch, etc. What's that?
Oh. Sorry, go ahead.
What did you do, Kim? Anyway.
I was getting a note saying that live stream on YouTube wouldn't load, so I was checking it out, and it loads just fine for me. So go right ahead. I thought I had muted myself, so my bad.
Oh my goodness. All right. So where was I here? But if we're living, I don't know where I left off, so let me rephrase here. If I'm living myself consciously aware that all is infinite mind, infinitely manifest, showing up in a language I understand, if that's where I'm standing, then I'm walking along free as a breeze. If I'm standing in language, wondering how I can apply something to make me feel better, or do better, or have more, or find a job, or meet a need, if I'm standing in that language picture, hoping to fix something, I'm already expanding in the negative because I'm standing in something that isn't a fact. Actually, it's a fiction. And I'm expecting it to do something to help me out. And it's never going to happen. That may be the way it looks. That is not the way it is. So actually, what's going on is reality present. My experience of it is negative only because of where I'm standing. I don't know whether that answers it for Diane, but she'll let me know if it doesn't. Okay?
Yes. So what I wanted to say is now for the prepared portion of the live cast, we're going to be looking at the personal concept. And that is a pamphlet that was written by Margaret Laird. And we started the exploration of it last week. So you can go look at last week's video if you didn't see that first part. We're going to continue that exploration today. And that personal concept booklet is available at the website for the Institute of Metaphysical Science at scientificmetaphysics.org. You can go ahead and order that if you want to order that and follow along as we keep exploring what's in that booklet. So without any further ado, go for it.
Okay. This, I'm going to start today with, I'll read to you from the personal concept. Margaret told a story about a good friend of hers that lived in the Chicago area, but every year he went to Florida and he had fun playing the races. So she says, this friend understood that ideas identifying mind were the existence of everything. Therefore, the horse races to him existed as idea, a state of mind. He might have said prior to placing his bets, mind is forever demonstrating as thinking, as idea, as myself, that having fun is normal and natural and not abnormal and not supernatural. This impersonal point of view paid off well for 7 races. On the 8th race, he picked the horse intuitively as he had picked the other 7. But this time there was a difference. He went out to the paddock to see the horse. The horse didn't look good in his personal opinion. And if he changed, so he changed his mind and chose another that looked better to his personal sense. If he had followed his intuition, as he did in the 7 previous races, he would have been some $300 ahead. When our betting friend let personal sense dull his vision and horse racing, the personal concept, took the place of just having fun as idea, he lost his fun. That's a great story because it tells us a lot how we live everything. We get the idea, yes, intelligence is functioning, but then we take a look at the picture around us and we start arranging it, rearranging it, organizing it, etc., until we get it just the way we think it ought to be. And lo and behold, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not good at all. And we think, what happened? Well, we lost our intuitive sense that what was going on was perfection present. And that was the organizing principle of the human picture. But I thought the human picture looked like it needed organizing. So I was rearranging the picture, thinking that that was helping things. And guess what? I lost my fun. I lost my intuitive sense of what was actually going on. The joy idea, you are consciously living as thinking. This is a quote. The joy idea, you are consciously living as thinking, makes the map that shows you the road to having a good time all the time. See, it's the idea. We live as idea. We live and move and have being as idea all the time. So when you, in your belief of things, separate mind and its thinking action, guess what? You cut yourself in two, as it were. You deprive yourself of the joy and the fullness that's present. So another quote, call the manifestation of mind what you will, but your own being as idea or awareness, as knowledge, is the life of all that lives and seems to live. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope, we don't have any questions yet. I do like this one that that I want to say, because you've been alluding to it, and I think you're gonna gloss over this one, but you want to really be alert to the belief that man is a doer. Man lives reflectively. source, the God idea, mind, instigates all action. You think it's this doing the action. It's not.
That's just the language identifying
Right.
what's happening.
Correct. So mind instigates all action, does all that occurs just by being itself being. So I think that bears really looking at too, because you've been saying it, and I think the way you say it there is really nice.
Good. Thank you. Anybody have anything they want to say or ask?
No, because Mom, they're going to be delayed. So they're going to be delayed. Whatever it is will come in, and there's going to be a delay. So if you ask the question, they may have something to say, but right now nobody has said anything. I don't have any comments.
Okay. But fundamentally, the things that we've talked about so far are common to one MO, if I can call it that. Regardless of what comes up challenging you in daily living, the same rules apply. Who am I being? Where am I standing? Am I standing in the belief that the way it looks is the way it is? If I am, I'm expanding in the negative. I'm trying to do something about my opinion or judgment of what I'm looking at. So I'm playing with language. If I recognize that just being present means that God's present. You know, I started out my book, Mind is the Athlete, with that little story about the little boy who was in Sunday school. And the teacher said to him, if you were in the desert and nobody was around for miles and miles, how would you know that God was there? And the little boy looked up and smiled and said, because I'd be there. Yeah, when you show up, the God idea is the presence. If there's no other question, that's it.
Well, it's not though, because we have those who live their language view as if it were reality, live as victims of a belief system with sin, disease, and death as their ultimate experience.
Yeah, that's the language.
Another way that you say it, right? Because if you buy what you're seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching as something out there, outside of who you are, that can impact you, you're a victim of a belief system that has all those things.
Yeah, and you're the victim of your own belief. You're not a victim of the system.
Right. The belief system. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the freedom from the system?
The freedom from the system is acknowledging the facts.
And what's the fact that frees you?
All is infinite mind.
Go to that other class. Yeah, infinitely manifest. It is. One thing going on. God being, man reflectively presencing.
Right. And the other one is paths exploring appearances are unending and inexhaustible so long as their base for living is rooted in what's observable.
Yep.
So say more about that.
Same thing. That's expanding in the negative. Exploring paths that are appearances are language.
Mm-hmm.
And language goes on and on and on because language is your feedback on who you're being.
Right.
And as long as you're around, you're going to have feedback.
Yeah.
So it's endless. And if that's your base for living, you're expanding in the negative.
Yes.
And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with expanding in the negative, but from the physical point of view, it's not a very happy path. It's not a very satisfying path, but it is working itself out, and on you go.
Yep. Yeah.
Being, it's all up to you. It's a case of physician, heal thyself.
Right. Right. And when we look at things, it looks like, when we go to sleep, we wake up and it's the same old day. It looks like we just keep repeating the same old thing. But the truth is it's all infinity, characterizing being or existing. And so it may look the same in our human sense of things, but it's all new right now, right now, right now, right now. But we're mostly not present to it if what you're doing is you're playing in the language and you think that's what defines you.
And even the language is an occurrence that is so faster than the speed of light, actually, that we do not see that it's discrete moments of now.
Correct.
It's all right now, right now, right now. Nothing is repeated.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So any moment that you step out of believing that that language is running the show, that very moment, things shift.
Yeah, it's just the acknowledgement, the willingness to have it look the way it looks with no attachment, and you're free.
Yeah.
I like that whole word, willingness.
Yep.
Right?
I had a live cast on willingness at one point, and it was fun to get people to see that they all said they were willing, but, and I said, okay, everything after the but is all your unwillingness to be willing.
That's right. That's right. Because it's like, tell the truth about it so that you can actually see what's running the show. Yep. And then you have more access to the freedom that's possible.
Right.
Here's another one. The nature of reality means that being itself, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, lives itself whole, perfect, complete, fulfilled, satisfied, joyous, and free.
Good finale.
Yeah, there's more. But yet there's more.
Well, you can go on forever, Kim.
I know, but I only have 3 more, so I figure what the heck, we can just kind of discuss it.
They weren't in my list, so I don't know where you're coming up with them.
You sent them to me.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, I pulled them right from your document.
I know, but they're we did the couple of those last time.
I don't think we did any of these last time, but anyways, they're fun. So the identifying language feedback fulfills its function only when consciously recognizes a point of view on perfection presencing.
Okay. Said another way, mind as the God idea or source of all that exists or seems to exist, self-reveals as the think of mind, that's man, identified in understandable language as feedback, letting us know how we're living ourselves. Breakthrough occurs whenever there's a willingness to leave the language alone, offering no resistance, no taking thought about, no figuring it out, and allowing human living to occur however it looks. The language world of human living occurs in the mode of paradox, occurring as 2 extremes with everything in between, as reality appearing in understandable form. And to say it again, and I've said it before, as I go, so goes my experiential world of language. We are the world we walk through.
Yes. So the whole lesson, or the whole thing that you're really getting at in this particular session, is pay attention to your seeing.
Yes.
Right? So pay attention to your seeing.
Yep.
So anything else on any of this? So again, this is the Institute of Metaphysical Science, and our website is at scientificmetaphysics.org. And we would appreciate any participation out there. We have all of our books and pamphlets and seminars. We have a live cast coming up a week from this weekend, 2 half days with Betty, exploring in the beginning. So we'll have some more on that coming. So if you add yourself to our mailing list, you'll get more information on that. We'll have some more information coming out over the next few days for people who want to register and attend that next weekend.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much. And we will see you next week at 5 o'clock Pacific. And we'll see you then. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them, and we will look. And if there are any, we will address them at the beginning of the next one. And that's it. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and spread the word. If this was valuable to you, share it with other people that you think might benefit. So thank you so much.
Bye-bye.